Hi guys, so before I begin I would like to bring attention to the fact that I do have a dress on. It is just strapless. It is so fucking hot. I'm gonna go grab my phone and tell you exactly how hot it is right now. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it is boiling and I can't tell if it's gonna storm, but let me grab my phone and I'll tell you guys the weather. Hold on. Okay, so I just checked my phone and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's 33 degrees and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's like, it's not even hot, like sunny hot. It's like overcast and humid and disgusting and sticky, but it's like windy outside and it's gonna storm and I don't know, just so fucking hot. So that is why my hair is disgusting. I wanted to film today, but like my hair is the kind of hair that when it's really hot it goes really staticky and I just could not deal with it, so it's up in a ponytail. Also, I'm sick. What's new, right? I'll fill you guys in about how I'm going at the end of this video, but I was trying to think of a video that I can film and I thought that kind of telling you guys my family history when it comes to being like open and spiritual and all that kind of stuff, sensing things, I thought that would be kind of interesting for you guys. So basically on my dad's side of the family, as far as I know of, they are all pretty strong Catholics, Roman Catholics, so I'm assuming they don't believe in any of that. I've never asked anyone, I don't know. Yeah, so my dad's side of the family, they've never spoken about that kind of stuff with me, so I just assume, you know, they're really religious, they go to church. I assume they don't believe in that, don't experience it. However, on my mum's side, there's me, I experience things. There's my mum, she experiences things. Her mum, which is my grandma, she's passed away because I've spoken to her in some Ouija boards, so I don't know why I felt the need to validate that with you guys, but yeah, she passed away when I was 8. She was very psychic. My mum's dad, which is my grandfather, what was I going to say? His mum, during the Depression, which I'm sure you guys know what that is, his mum, so that would make her my great grandmother, yes, she used to read tea leaves and read tarot cards, and she was like she was like really well known within Sydney. They would have people coming over to their house during the Depression, and that's how they made their money in the Depression. My mum used to live in Newtown, I've explained this before, and in that house there was my mum, her brother, my mum's mum and dad, and then my great grandmother, which was my grandpa's mum. She was the one that used to read tea leaves, and my mum's told me that there was a front room, and even after the Depression was happened and my mum was alive and everything, mum said she can always remember just people coming and going in the front room that she read tea leaves, she was psychic, she read tarot cards, and that's how they got by, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't know any further than that because my grandma, the one that's passed away, her mum died when she was 15, and her dad I don't really know much about. So yeah, I'll give you guys a little bit of background. My mum and her mum were so close, like they almost had, not telepathy, but like there were so many times mum's told me, for example, where this was back when, you know, there was no mobile phones and not many people necessarily had house phones, and mum would say, like, for example, she'd say in her head, "Mum, I need you to call me," to her mum. Within 15 minutes, wherever mum was, she'd get a phone call, or the same happened back and forth with my mum and her mum. They were really close, they knew what they were feeling, if something was wrong, if they had to call someone, if they had to call one another, like they were so close. And yeah, so what was I gonna say? Something interesting that my mum told me the other night. I will chuck in a video in a second of the clock, because I've mentioned in a few of my videos that we have this clock above the telephone and it always stops working and then it'll start working again, and right now it's working fine, but sometimes it'll stop working. Okay, so this is the clock that I'm talking about. That's like my phone and modems and stuff. That's the clock that always stops working. That's the time right now, 4:30. So Yes, this is the infamous clock. And I've said in a few of my other videos that at the house in Newtown in Sydney, where my mum grew up, they had like a brass door knocker, you know, back in like the olden days. Instead of a front door having a doorbell, they had like a knocker and you lift it up and tap on the door rather than just knocking. I don't get what the point is. Anyway, they would hear that knock, and then a few days later no one would be there, and then a few days later they'd find out someone that they knew had passed away or been in an accident or whatever. And Mum and I were on the subject last night of how weird it is that the clock was stopping. And I told you guys this experience a while ago. I can't remember it like completely, but I'll rehash it quickly. Basically, there was one night where 3 o'clock in the morning the phone rang. Mum got up and answered it, and it was just kind of like white static noise, and then it rang at 3:15 and then 3:30. And the next morning, Mum answered it every single time, and it was all white noise. The next morning, the clock was either stopped on one of those times. Nothing ever came of it, but Mum was telling me that they had an old, I don't know how to explain it, but it's basically like a clock that you would put on top of a mantelpiece, like on top of a fire. And it's like a long clock, and it chimes every hour. So if I can find a photo, I'll insert it here. And basically, you know, they chime every hour to let you know it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Some clocks chime every half an hour, but this specific clock didn't. It was only made to chime every hour. And sorry I'm getting puffed out. I'll fill you guys in to why at the end of the video. Basically, Mum said it was the same kind of deal. It had chimed for no reason a few times a day when it wasn't meant to, and then they'd find out someone had passed away. I just think that's interesting. And another thing is my grandma, is it my grandma? It was either my grandma, my mum's mum, or my great-grandmother, the psychic one that could read tea leaves, or it was both. Although my mum's experienced this as well. Our family, and she only told me this the other night, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Our family has a lot of issues with clocks. So, can't remember which family member it was, either, like I said, my grandmother or my great-grandmother, would wear a clock, and instead of it telling the time, it would literally just spin and spin and spin and spin and spin and spin and just completely spin out, which is kind of freaky. And it wasn't just like one random watch, it was every single watch they put on. And I was about to say something, and I don't know what it was because I had a coughing fit. Oh, that's annoying. I was going to say something really interesting. Fuck. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, I remember what I was going to say now. Also, along with clocks, my family, it's happened to me as well, and it happens to my mum all the time. Me and my mum will be out shopping, we'll be out somewhere, I don't know, and all of a sudden the register will freeze, or the computer will stop working, or something that's worked perfectly fine for 10 years will just randomly die. Like, it's really, really bizarre. Like, I can walk into a room and the lights will completely blow. Like, it's the weirdest thing. An example is, here in Australia, you know, you can get your license when you're 16, I think, yeah. And when you're 18, you can legally go out to clubs and drink and stuff and do whatever the fuck you want, basically. So I don't have my license, and everyone that's in Australia is going to be like, what? I'm 18 and I don't even have my L's. I don't even have my learners. But anyway, moving on to that, you need ID to get into places, and we have this thing here that's called, it's either a proof of age card or a photo card, I can't remember. I had to go to the RTA and get one, so I had an ID to get into places. It just basically has a photo, date of birth, address, full name, signature, and I think that's all. So, cut a very, very long story short, I got my photo taken, everything was fine. Mum and I were waiting at the little booth for him to print the card out, and they have to, like, you have to give them your birth certificate and stuff so they can cross-check it with, like, births, deaths and marriages to make sure that you are who you say you are, kind of thing. And the whole computer system in the whole place just froze, and Mum and I looked at each other because it's totally nothing new. Things freeze on us all the time. So, first of all, I was like to Mum, oh, why don't you go step outside for a second? Or Mum was like, oh, I've got to go get something out of the car, or just made it look nonchalant. And she went outside and it was still frozen, because usually when those kind of things happen, if we walk away or walk out of wherever the stuff is frozen, or broken, or not broken, but if something's frozen or stopped working, if we leave, it usually starts up again. So Mum left, went outside, and it was still frozen. She came back inside, and I was like, oh, you forgot my blah blah blah. I just made up some bullshit, or pretended my phone was ringing, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go outside and answer this phone call. I kid you not, the first second I stepped foot out of the RTA, everything started working again, and Mum just did it all for me and then brought it outside. And another weird thing is as well, is when I got the card printed out, it had the completely wrong birth date on it, but he had entered it in fine. I don't know, that's like a weird thing. So that's like history in my family, like clocks and machinery happens all the time. Mum and I, a lot of the time, I don't know how to say this without being like, oh, it's coincidental, but a lot of the time, we'll be having a conversation about something with a group of people, and we'll both kind of be sitting there pondering about what we're going to say, and then at the exact same moment we'll both open our mouths and say the exact same words or the same thing. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I have a lot of people ask me if, you know, fuck, I'm so hot, oh my god. Sorry guys. I do have a dress on. I don't know if you guys can see this. I have a dress on, but it's just so hot. I have a lot of you guys asking me if you think I have a lot of you guys asking me if you think experiencing things is kind of genetic, not genetic, but you know, you've got a higher chance of it if it's in your family or whatever. From my own experience, that's what I'm thinking of, I would say yes, it does, because, you know, all the people that I know that are in my life that experience things, all their family members do, or most of them do. So I don't know, and I think that's what else was I gonna say? But yeah, I think it does play a major part. I don't know why. I wish I knew the answer to so many things, because it's so much of the unknown. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go now because I think it's gonna storm, and I really want to edit this video and put it up. So I hope you guys liked that little bit of what is my hair doing? Jeez. That little bit of interesting background history on my paranormal experiences in my family. Basically, just a lot of people in my family have experienced things, you know, so I feel like that's a main reason to why I experienced what I... But you know what is weird though? I don't really take anything after my mum. Like if I stood next to my dad and next to my mum, you would think, oh, she's his daughter and they're just boyfriend and girl, and my mum and dad were boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I don't look anything like her. Personality wise, I'm exactly like my dad. So I don't know why I was lucky enough to be gifted with being able to experience things. I don't know, I'm rambling. A little quick update on me. I'm sick again, I know. Basically, I've been going to the same doctor since I was 6. Actually, yeah, no, probably 6. And he's the kind of doctor that instead of trying to figure out what is wrong with you, he'll kind of just like, for example, like at the moment I've got a really phlegmy cough. I'm sorry, this is disgusting. I've been throwing up. I can't breathe. And instead of, I've had this so many times before, and instead of trying to figure out what the cause of it is, he'll just put me on antibiotics and not really figure out the underlying issue of what's going on. So as soon as I started getting sick again this time, I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna go find a new doctor. And I did, and I'm so glad I went. I was actually like so happy with this doctor. Like I walked out and I was like, woo! Basically, she is trying to rule out asthma and something wrong with my lungs. I'm having a lung function test next week, which tests the capacity of my lungs. But yeah, I'm so over getting sick. And when I was younger and I used to get sick, I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not asthmatic. They kind of weren't sure if I am or I'm not ever since I was little, but I can't have Ventolin anymore because it makes me like cough my guts up and like vomit and gag. Anyway, I'm totally rambling and you guys don't want to hear about me vomiting. So I'm going to go. I'm going to get Nathan to be in the question answers video in my last video. So if you haven't seen it and you want to ask him a question, you know, he, like I've said in my last video, you can go watch it if you want. He's basically a complete opposite of me in beliefs of paranormal, religion and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to hear his views, someone else's views, or you just want to ask him a random question about absolutely anything, go to my last video and write in the comments. So I'm gonna go now, guys, because I'm out of breath. And yeah, I hope everyone's doing fantastic, and I'm sorry for my appearance, but yeah, bye guys.